Hi. Hi. So, I have another Halloween-esque devil fruit adjacent video. This one, I guess, kind of goes closer to the Dia de Muertos, given where the idea for this devil fruit came from. I've added a couple of other things. I've got like some of the these are obviously fake, but I've got like the sugar type skulls and such, and I've got Day of the Dead up there on a sign. I once I understood what Day of the Dead was, I just always thought that it seemed like such a great idea. And I am going to be doing at least 2 other videos where I talk about Day of the Dead. One of them I'm going to do a review of the movie Book of Life. And then the other one, I'm going to do a One Piece Dia de Muertos type video, which that one, I'll do more of explanation of what that one is when I get to that video. But part of what I'm setting up in that video, I kind of need to set up beforehand with a different with the devil fruit that is kind of the centerpiece of kind of where that video comes from. And in regards to that, that is where I have the Shashin no Mi, or the picture devil fruit, or the photo devil fruit, depending on which way you want to put it. I went with the basic design of like a Polaroid picture, you know, take the picture, shake it, and then it develops. This is kind of the Polaroid symbol to a degree. And then, of course, it's a devil fruit. So we're going to put this in the background. Over there. There we go. And the reason that I went with this, and, you know, cameras, you know, phones these days have so many different camera features on them. You can record, you can take pictures themselves. You can, you know, do, you know, selfies, which I'm not the biggest fan of selfies, but okay. Sure, go ahead. And, you know, there's like so many other things that you can do with photos. All of us probably have either photos that are in our homes or photos that we see, you know, online that are pictures that other people took with their phones or with cameras. You know, we have, you know, like the old black and white photos of like our families over the years. My aunt and uncle have a my mom's younger brother has a photo in his house, or a bunch of photos in their house of, you know, my mom's family over the years. I think the siblings have some of the copies of these as well. But you know, there's like a photo that sits there, a photo that's there that's like all the kids. My mom had 6 siblings. She was 5th of 7. So they've, you know, lots of family pictures and stuff like that. And in one of them is literally like figure out which one of these ones in this picture is my mom. And like I've told that to my nieces and nephew, which one of these do you think is grandma? And they point at the one and it looks exactly like me. Because my mom looked almost exactly like I did when she was my age. Except by the time my mom was, I think, my age, she had gray hair, which has nothing to do with me. I was not born yet. My mother had nothing to do with me yet at that point in time. She had gray hair a lot early. She had gray hair very early when she was, you know, younger. Nothing to do with me, nothing to do with my sister. We're contributing to the white hairs that are now growing on her head. In regards to that, it's like I see all these photos, and like I always love the idea of having, you know, family photos all over the place, or photos from different places that you've gone, you know, different things along those lines. You know, it's like, you know, when you were a kid, depending on stuff, you know, it's like your parents would take you to, you know, Sears or something, and you would sit and you would do like all the different family photos and stuff like that of, you know, parents, and then each kid individually, and then like, you know, the kids with their siblings, and then, you know, like the kids and the parents in the background all together and everything like that. And like we had those. My parents took my sister and I and did those, you know, when I was, you know, like a baby, and then when I was like, you know, 3 or 4, and, you know, we still have some of those pictures. I would have tried to dig them out, but currently most of our photo albums are currently stuck inside of a chest inside of my mom's room that has a whole bunch of stuff on top of it that I cannot dig out. Yeah. Otherwise, I would have brought some of them out. But I do have some other photos that I have taken over the years. This one here is actually a photo from a place we have here in Lincoln that is called the Sunken Gardens, which is just like garden area that we have near our zoo. This is through the top of the kind of a domed gazebo area that we have there. This part was, I believe, taken sometime in winter. We'd had a huge snowstorm came through, and like my mom and I just like stopped by the garden. I just like went in and like looked up and took the picture. And then we have another one here that is part of my church when it was covered in snow in one of our courtyard areas. And then we have, you know, there's like so many other photos that I've taken. I've got like hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands and thousands. Well, thousands and thousands of pictures on the computer. Not all of them are photos. Some of them are other just, you know, pictures I've taken or pictures I've downloaded from online that are, you know, fan art pictures or stuff like that, or things that I need for the videos. But, you know, lots and lots of photos that I've taken, you know, from different trips or that have been taken of me over the years. You know, photos have been taken of me over the years. And what I always thought would be like an interesting devil fruit is a devil fruit that is kind of like, not like a camera setup, but like a kind of similar to that, where you can kind of do the similar things to what a camera can do. And the way that I kind of designed this devil fruit, I know there have been other people that have made, you know, similar devil fruits to like other devil fruits I've talked about, like, you know, like a, you know, like the chocolate devil fruit that I talked about earlier this month. I know that there's at least one other type of a chocolate devil fruit out there. And there's like some other types of things, but that was just the way that I designed mine. And then this one is just the way that I have designed this one. Doesn't take anything away from the other, you know, picture devil fruits or something like that that other people have made, but this is just the way that I designed this one. And basically it's a Paramecia, obviously. And I put it in as the user becomes a picture or photo human. The user has the power to copy an image from the mind of who they are touching and put it on a canvas. By placing one hand on someone and one hand on a blank canvas or piece of paper or blank surface, give or take whatever it is that you're trying to put the picture on, they are able to print, sketch, paint, or draw the image from the other person's mind. They can also like copy something from their own mind and do it that way too. And you know, there's several different devil fruits that I kind of pulled pieces of this idea from, which, you know, with one piece, there's like how many different types of like heat devil fruits between the, you know, the Maramara no Mi, the Magu no Mi, you know, a bunch of other different types of devil fruits that all deal with heat. And we've seen other devil fruits that deal with pictures or images. And this is just another variation of taking that to a different level, or to a different section of it, which I'll do the comparisons with the other devil fruits, of course. But I liked the idea of like someone having this devil fruit, and I'll explain why it ties into a different video closer to the end of the video. But I've always liked the idea of photography. I did photography when I was at school. We had, you know, like the photography class, and, you know, we did actually do it where we got to develop film and everything like that. One of the stories with that, our teacher, and our teacher at the time had like sent us all about with, you know, different, you know, like the black and white cameras and stuff like that, where you can't let the film get exposed until you're taking the picture and have to stay in the case and everything. You know, we dashed around our, I went to a focus program when I was in high school for like my last 2 years, and it was great. And it was just art focus program, and it was awesome. And I mean, like we still had, you know, like our other studies and stuff like that too, but it was mostly focused around art, which is amazing for me. And what had happened, you know, we all go through and we all have different cameras and we all take all these different pictures. Or, well, we didn't all have different cameras. We just had one camera, and he's, you know, each of us got to take like so many pictures. And then our teacher went and he's like, okay, now we're going to do this. And he starts trying to undo it. And then unfortunately, he had done it the wrong way. And he accidentally, and he's doing this in front of the class when he's doing this. And he opened the camera the wrong way. And it like exposed all of it, so it like ruined all the pictures we took. And he just like, sorry. And, you know, but, you know, and then we still got to see like how the film gets developed and everything like that. You know, we had the dark room and everything where, you know, you have to develop them in the chemicals and everything like that. And those were fun. And we had other people that were much better at the photography setup than I was. I wasn't super, super over the top with photography, but I like learned different things about, like, if you're going to do a picture of stuff. And like, I've shown lots of pictures on the channel before, lots of pictures from, the exhibits that I've showed you from Lorenzen Gardens and such like that, from like the mythological creatures, mythological creatures from One Piece type devil video that I did. And there's like other ones, and of course I've shown you lots of pictures of Rainy over the over the time. So lots of photos that way. I think I've showed you a couple of other photos of the other dog that I had that was called Bear, that we had when I was a kid, and I still miss him. Moving on. But there's lots of it's like everybody has photos that they've taken on their phone, or they put up on Facebook, or their Tumblr, or their Twitter, or their Instagram, or whatever. And before that, it was there was pictures that were printed in the newspaper, and there were pictures that were printed in magazines. We still have those, of course. We still have magazines and newspapers, of course, but they are a much bigger thing, 20, 30, 20 years ago, and, getting, more and, that was how everybody got their news. That's how everybody saw what everybody looked like. That was how, you got your news that way, or, you went and saw film reels, or you went and saw, on the, the nightly news and everything like that. And, you saw all these different images, and there were, there's images that are, burned into people's minds, some good, some bad. And we saw, and we would see a lot of those things over the years. And, even going all the way back, I think it's that, like, when I was doing some research for this, like, the earliest photos were, like, from, like, 1823, where it was, like, the actual concept of taking a photo that wasn't just, like, a sketch imprinted on something, or, like, a carving that was then, printed over and over again. The actual photo was, like, a negative. And, like, so the concept of, like, photos that can be reprinted and stuff like that has been around for like less than 200 years at this point in time, which is kind of astounding. But that's like, we've had like painting technology, the technology of painting everything, for hundreds and hundreds of years and thousands of years, when you go all the way back to painting on the walls of temples and stuff like that, or cave paintings and stuff like that. The way that I designed this devil fruit to work, or kind of the rules of this devil fruit, and this is where I'm going to compare it to some of the other devil fruits that we've seen, that where I kind of took some of the ideas from. So, like the Memo Memo no Mi that Pudding has, of course, it is wielded by Charlotte Pudding. You have the ability to see someone's memories. Down, the opposite of that is like, she can, manipulate people's memories. She can pull them out of their head and manipulate them, cut them, snip them, put in fake memories, whatever. This devil fruit, the picture no Mi, you cannot alter someone's memories. You can't alter them. You can't take them. You see them, and then you print the picture based on that. Like, you have them focus on an image, and then you can print a picture based on that. I need a picture of like my grandmother for like this party that we're having for her, and like you go to the person that has this devil fruit, they touch you as you focus on the image that you want of your grandmother, and then you touch, and then the person would touch like this blank canvas, and it would like print or paint or sketch or whatever an exact like realistic like photo, picture, painting, whatever, of the memory that you're giving them. And and then you get that, and then like I'll go into like where this ties into the Dia de Muertos stuff in a little bit, but you have that idea. And then like the Ato Ato no Mi, the art fruit that Giola has from the Don Quixote pirates, her it allows you to create an image that way, but you cannot trap other people, and she like traps Nami and Chopper and Momo inside of her paintings, and she like alters the Sunny and everything, and she like alters the way that they look and everything. And so she can't really use that. She, the person who has this devil fruit, has the the picture no Mi, can't really do that, but they can still create an image. But it has to be an image that either they've seen before, or an image that they are copying from someone else. And the last comparison, obviously, would be the Fude Fude no Mi, or kind of the like the sketch fruit that Conjuro has. Horrible man, pretty decent devil fruit, in all honesty. But so you can make this lifelike image the way that we see Conjuro, of course, uses powers. Of course, originally he does these horrible drawings, and they barely last long enough to do what they're supposed to do. They barely last very well, and they don't really work very well. All of that stuff. And then we, of course, find out that he's been lying the entire time, and he can actually draw beautiful things that are like exactly lifelike. He makes a lifelike version of himself. He makes the lifelike crane that he flies away on, and all this other stuff. So we've seen him use his power that way. And the way that this power would work, the way that this devil fruit would work would be, you still can make this like lifelike, sketch-like thing to the point where, you can, look at like a wanted poster of someone and then print like a lifelike version of that wanted poster. Or, oh, I have this memory of like this giant castle that I saw at one point when I was, that I saw like a couple of years ago or something like that. I was just like, okay, think of the castle, touch person, touch sketch pad thing, and then it draws it, paints it, whatever. And then you can give it to the person. Admittedly, the clarity of the picture itself is kind of based on the clarity of the memory that you're taking it from. So like if it's like a memory from like when you were 2, barring like you having an eidetic memory, you're not, it's going to be fuzzy or whatever the case may be. Or like if it's like the earliest memory that I have, say, is like me jumping up and down in a bed. That's like the earliest memory I can think of. I probably wasn't supposed to be jumping up and down on the bed, but I jumped up and down on the bed because we all did that when we were kids. But it's like that memory, like it wouldn't be very clear. Whereas like if like you take a memory of like, oh, I have like this memory of like me and my grandmother from like, a couple of years before she died, then, you can take, touch head, touch picture, that it would sketch the memory. The problem with that is, or the side of that is that it only works from your memory. So it's like unless you're like looking in a mirror or looking at a photo of something, because like you can do like a photo of a photo from a memory, that's fine. It's just like as long as it's from the memory. Or you can like sketch something like this person would be great at weddings, because it's just like you just have like everybody stand up at the wedding, and instead of having to wait like 20 minutes or 30 minutes while someone paints it or something like that, you can like have this person, have the person with the photonomy come in, like look over everything like for a couple of seconds, and then like touch this giant canvas and then like make like this beautiful picture. I mean, yeah, there's also the whole thing of like, oh, just use a camera and take a photo that way, but not, I don't know how prevalent photo technology is in One Piece. Obviously, the world government has the capability of doing it because that's how they get a lot of the wanted posters. Because, so many of the wanted posters are done via that way. And of course, obviously, there's the large ability of like mass producing that in regards to, the newspapers, the World Economic Times, obviously, because we've heard about different photographers that go up from that, like the photographer that went to Water 7 and got pictures of all the different Straw Hats except Sanji. Because he kept forgetting to take the camera lens off. All these different photos that they took of the Straw Hats and then used those in the new bounty posters. And then, of course, there's other times where it's like, oh, they finally got photos of the different, the Straw Hats then 2 years later, and they updated the bounty posters and everything that went like that. So we've seen a lot of that. We've seen that, obviously, the Marines and the world government and, like, the World Economic Times and probably the Celestial Dragons, definitely the Celestial Dragons, and stuff like that, like all have this photo technology. But, I don't know if we've seen that much, like people that have like a fair amount of money probably have it, like Kaya in, Syrup Village, considering that she comes from a fairly well-to-do family, probably has a camera somewhere in that house. And, she's probably taken photos of like her and Mary and like her and, the 3 veggie pirates that are now, growing up and, different things like that. She probably has like some pictures from like when she was a kid of like her and her parents. She's probably gone through and burned all the pictures that they had of Klahadore, Koro, and everything along those lines. There's like all this other stuff that they probably had, and, other like Luffy and Fuchsia Village probably didn't really have a whole lot of ability to have like a camera in that village, because that probably seemed like a luxury in that area. But like, the people that were in like, Hightown in the Goa Kingdom, in Hightown and in, in the castle and everything like that, like they probably have, cameras all over the place. And they also have like the Denden Mushi as well, probably, or like the, the security camera type Denden Mushi that we've seen multiple times throughout the course of the story. but they probably also have, you know, just like regular cameras. Because like I would assume that the cameras that are in One Piece work very similar to the cameras that are in our world. I don't remember if we've actually seen any of like the actual like cameras. We've seen like the Denzen Mushi that are used to like broadcast, because like they did that when Ace was going to be executed. They had it broadcast all over the world, or to the major parts of the world. And then they also watched like as everything fell to hell in a handbasket throughout the course of that. With the Whitebeard pirates and with, you know, Luffy and the others and Blackbeard and all of that, you know, all of them showing up. We got like that whole thing that happened there. But, you know, there's still these images that end up all over the place. Like, you know, Luffy used that when, you know, him and Rayleigh went back to, you know, Marineford, where he, you know, rang the, what was it, the Ox Bell or whatever. And we got like those photos all over the place of, you know, him with his tattoos. And that's how he got the message out to his crew. So photos have been quite crucial in One Piece for different things like that. But the way that I brought up this devil fruit, the reason why I kind of created this devil fruit was because I wanted to do a Dia de Muertos video with the Straw Hats. And in regards to that, not all of the Straw Hats have photos of the people that would be part of their Dia de Muertos. And of course, kind of the concept for Dia de Muertos, or part of the, you know, quote unquote rules for Dia de Muertos that they came up with for like the movie Coco, which love the movie Coco. Not going to get reviewed this year in regards to like Dia de Muertos this year, because I'm going to do Book of Life, but Coco will eventually get reviewed when I do the Pixar movies after we finish up the Disney movies, which, depending on when this comes out in regards to where I am with the Disney movie reviews, we don't have too many more left, and then I'll probably take a break from like Disney movies and do like some other movies, and then go back and do the Pixar movies. But one of the other things that we see is in Coco, like they have to have like this photo on the ofrenda, which is this big kind of shrine thing that a lot of people have in their homes, that the people have in their homes in Mexico, where they show, you know, this is our family members that have passed, you know, and we have, you know, different things that represent them. And I'll go over a lot more of like Dia de Muertos in the Book of Life video, and then in the Straw Hats Dia de Muertos video. But I needed a device to allow to have all of the Straw Hats to have a picture of the person that they would care about. And like, obviously, like Luffy could have like a copy of Ace's bounty poster. Like somehow maybe they still have a copy of it. Maybe, you know, somehow they got a hold of it, or, you know, like different things like that. Like Tom, like we saw that Frankie has like a photo of Tom, and that, you know, probably Frankie maybe has like a copy of that somewhere on the ship. So he would have that. Or, you know, but I highly doubt that Nami has like a photo of her mother. Considering how poor they were, I highly doubt that Nami has a photo of Belmir. Or I highly doubt that, like, you know, Usopp probably doesn't have like a photo of his mom. And Sanji most definitely would not have a photo of his mother, because of the fact that, you know, when he left, you know, the German kingdom, when he was a kid, he didn't have the ability to take anything with him. So he wouldn't have had a photo of his mom. And she would, of course, you know, these are different ones, you know, it's like the Straw Hats almost all have like someone, like Brooke may have like a photo of Yorkie, because I think Yorkie did have a bounty poster. And I'll be going over these again when I get to the Dia de Muertos video for the Straw Hats. But in regards to that, like, you know, it's like, but Frankie, or, but like, you know, Brooke may not have photos of like the rest of the crew. He might have like Yorkies, but he wouldn't have like the rest of the crew. And, you know, the same thing with like, you know, Jinbei may possibly have like a copy of like Fisher Tiger's bounty poster, you know, his wanted poster. But like Yamato, you know, if Yamato joins the crew, I want Yamato to join. I want Carrot to join too. But I want, like, you know, like if Yamato joined the crew, you know, her, you know, quote unquote, per people on the ofrenda would be like A, Ace, but that would also be covered by Luffy, but B, Odin. And, you know, maybe she has like a copy of Odin's, you know, maybe somehow there's like a copy of Odin's bounty poster inside of his journal somewhere. You know, we haven't seen everything that's inside the journal. There's a possibility that that's in there. But, you know, maybe she has this other image of Odin, you know, from her memories and everything. She was at his execution, so she would have seen that and seen what Odin did. And that's probably kind of burned into her mind. But I came up with this idea that, oh, there's this person on this island that has this ability, and like it's a very it's a very sought after talent. I mean, like, not like there are people like trying to hunt down this person to like kill them and take the devil fruit or try to like force the person to work with them. But, oh, this person has this power, this devil fruit power that allows them to like look at someone's memories and then make a picture. So it's like, oh, we never had enough money to have like a photo of this person that we loved, or like I didn't have, like all of that got lost in a fire or something like that. So if you go to the person, that has this devil fruit ability, they can touch you as you focus on like this memory of the person or whatever it is, and then they can print you a picture. And then like, it was like depending on like the size of the picture and the complexity of the picture, that would determine like how much it would cost, type of a thing. Like you would still have to pay for it, but like it would be like, oh, it's like the size of like a Bounty poster. I apologize if you can hear water running in the background. But like, the size of like a Bounty poster, or like the size of like, 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, you know, like that wouldn't cost very much. But like if you wanted like like a huge canvas, like, like the size of the wall scroll, or like the size of like a giant window or something like that, or like the size of like, oh, I want like the side of my house painted with like this image of something, like that kind of thing, like those would cost more. But so I had those ideas. So it was like, yeah, it is similar to the Memo Memo no Mi and the Ato Ato no Mi and the Fude Fude no Mi, but it's also not similar to them in the fact of like you can't alter people's memories. You can't actually trap someone inside of an image. You can't actually make the image come to life. Um, I was trying to think of how this would work very well for like a combat skill type of a thing. And I was like, I really wasn't coming up with anything, because like even like Pudding's Memo Memo no Mi, she can like, create like this, memory flash or something like that, like we saw her do with the homies, where she, makes them remember flashes from their old lives, from like the lives from the person that their piece of their soul came from. And, so we see that. But I was trying to think if like this would have any type of battle capability. And obviously, like the Ato Ato no Mi, like, Giola can use it to like trap people inside of her artwork and like alter the environment around her. Kanjuro can use the Fude Fude no Mi to, bring this sketch to life, and then, make that sketch fight or whatever, like he did with the Odin sketch. And different things like that. But I was like, how would this one work as like a, offensive ability? And I couldn't really think of anything. The closest thing that I could think of would be, I mean, like, I don't know if you work with someone that maybe has like a devil fruit ability that can allow them to do like special effects. And like they can like, like you as the person with the devil fruit ability that, can do the photos, like you can make like a giant photo, and then you can maybe have like this person that can do like the special effects, like somehow like bring that photo to life, which is where I thought of Anne, Diva Anne, from Stampede, the girl that has the power to touch an image and then bring it to life. We saw her do that with the dragon sketch, from the sketch of the big red dragon from Punk Hazard, and she brought that to life. And then we also saw at the end of the movie when she took, like Ace's, I think it was just like a photo of Ace's bounty poster, just Ace's bounty poster, and then she brought that image to life alongside Sabo. And so it's like those two combining, like this person, like the person who would have the photo no Mi makes like a giant image of like an army, if they've seen like a giant image of an army before. And then like Diva Ann would like go and like touch the image and like bring that to life for like, illusion it for, however amount of time that illusion lasts. And then, make that look like it's attacking someone. And that was about the only thing that I could come up with for like an offensive thing. In regards to this devil fruit would actually be quite good for like spying, like if you have to like sneak your way into somewhere, and it's like if you're a member of the Revolutionary Army and you have to like sneak your way into like a Marine base, and you can't sneak anything in with you, but you have this devil fruit power, you can go in and like find your way around, sneak your way into like the office of like the person in command, and look over all of their documents and everything like that, or look over all of their battle strategies or their documents or like their files or whatever, and like you have all of that in your memory now, and then you go back to your superiors, and then you just like sit there and like just like print all of the information on like papers again, and then you give it to your superiors and like, this is what I saw. And the other way that I thought about this was, Because I put Robin in here in regards to the fact that, like, oh, well, Robin might want an image of a picture of her mom. And I'm like, well, in that case, we know that Olvia had a bounty poster, but we don't know if Robin ever got her hands on one. We don't know about that. She could have not. I mean, with as much as like running away as Robin's had to do, she may not have been able to hold on to a poster of her mother. You know, and it's not like she had any pictures of like her and her mom from when she was a little kid, from when she was, you know, like a toddler or whatever. But I like the idea of it being that, like, oh, Robin goes and like gets like an image made of her mother from like the few little snippets of memory that she still has of her mother, from, you know, when she arrived on O'Hara and everything, and, you know, when everything happened there. But I also had the idea of, if this person could, you know, it's like if Robin needs to have, like, if they find the person who's seen like the fourth road poneglyph, because we don't know where that is yet. But if we find someone who's seen that, Rayleigh, insert whoever else has seen it, and, you know, because Rayleigh would have seen it, he can't read it, but he's seen it, that, like, oh, well, we need the information that's on the last road poneglyph in order to go and find Laugh-Tail. And we have no idea where that last road poneglyph is. That was the one that was in Fishman Island. We don't know where it is. So they go and they find someone who has seen that road poneglyph. Jinbei may have seen it. And if Jinbei has seen it, then what they can basically do is they can find this person that, you know, they could find this person that has this devil fruit, have Jinbei focus on that image of the poneglyph, and then have the person like touch that and then like print the image of the poneglyph. And then Robin can then just read that. Because given how long Jinbei was a guard in, you know, Jinbei was a guard there's a possibility he's seen that poneglyph at some point, either when he was a kid or once he became, you know, like one of Neptune's soldiers, or at some other point in time before the poneglyph got moved. And do it that way, or go and, you know, go talk to Neptune and do it that way, because Neptune's definitely seen it, and have him print, you know, go and get like that type of an image from him. And, you know, I just kind of like that idea of like the person who's printing it wouldn't be able to read the poneglyph, because it's not like they gain Robin's ability to read the poneglyph or to understand what it says, but like they would be able to like print it. And then the other side of that was, if that, like, the rules that I put this is like, as soon as a person is no longer touching the person that they're copying the picture from for the memory, then they, you know, they can't print that image again. But if the person who has this devil fruit like sees the thing that they are printing, you know, looks at it and like gets a good enough look at it, then they can just print that image again whenever they need it. And, you know, loophole into finding all 4 road poneglyphs. Once Robin sees all of that information, you know, if you get a hold of this person, then they can, you know, get a hold of Robin. You know, Robin's a big target of the world government right now, for multiple reasons. That, you know, the person that has this devil fruit would be able to, like, you know, like they force Robin to like think about the different poneglyphs, the different, you know, poneglyphs that she's seen, the road poneglyphs and everything, and then, you know, copy the images that way. Or if they know this person has seen those poneglyphs, they can do the same thing. They may not be able to read them, but they can get a hold of all that information, and then they can like force Robin to translate it. Or find someone else possibly who has the ability to read the poneglyphs. But that was just kind of where I kind of thought about that. Like, I was like, well, do I have anything that would be a combat capability of this devil fruit? Not really, and it kind of has to get combined with other devil fruits to be, you know, be a combat type of a devil fruit. I mean, a lot of the other devil fruits we've seen do have like combat abilities. Like even Charlotte Munthor, who has the book fruit, he can, you know, trap you inside of this like book world. This one you can't really do that. You know, there's a couple of other ones where it's like, well, off the top of your head, that wouldn't necessarily seem like a very useful devil fruit for combat capabilities. But even, as I said, even Puddings has some combat capability. Not over the top combat capability, but it can at least distract your opponent enough for you to either escape or get in a hit, depending on how easily the opponent is distracted. But Yeah, so yeah, one of the other videos that'll be coming up, and I think it's going to be November 1st is going to be when I do the review of Book of Life, and then November 2nd, because November 1st and 2nd are kind of like the time frame that like Dia de Muertos takes place over. But like on November 2nd is when I'm going to do the Straw Hat Dia de Muertos video. And then Halloween itself is going to be when I put up Nightmare Before Christmas. Jack, Sally, take your pick. Um, but I've got, a few other bits here and there too for some other, Halloween-esque type movies that I'll be either reviewing or something along those lines. This is like the third devil fruit that I've made for this. I don't know if I'm going to have any other devil fruits that are going to be part of this in regards to like how I can tie them into Halloween. But like that I can tie into Halloween because of Dia de Muertos, or tie into this section because of Dia de Muertos. So that's what we have. I always just like that idea of like, because like art was always interesting to me and I've always loved art, and photos are kind of an interesting thing as well, and like that way of like keeping an image alive even after it's you can't recreate that image, but you can still keep that image alive that way. So that's what we have. I thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a nice rest of your day. And of course, happy Halloween. Bye. What I like about photographs is that they capture a moment that's gone forever, impossible to reproduce.